Welcome YouTubers, this is my very first video reviewing the Phanteks Evolv X ATX case. I just wanted to share my build experience and some of the limitations I came across in this case, but all things aside, this is a lovely case and a lovely platform to build in. This is a very solid, heavy and sturdy case with many possibilities, but it does have quite a few limitations. Now before we get building, I have one slight problem, which is this guy. This is my current setup in a Fractal Define C Mini. As you can see, the components have taken over the case, the reservoir's outside, the fans are outside, the graphics card's way too big, so we're going to drain this loop. Being how compact it is, I was quite lucky to be able to have a drain port using a T-splitter under the 280mm rad. Now I do need to salvage quite a few components from this case, including the CPU block, the GPU block, the front 280mm rad, as well as many of the fittings. I will be going soft tube with the next build just because of build costs. However, it should still look great. Now these are some of my new components. There was the reservoir, the box for this 1080 Ti FTW3 block. That is still a beast of a card. I have some new sleeve cables, recycled 280mm rad, a brand new 420mm rad. There are some other bits and bobs lying around. I have my old 2 SSDs and hard drive, tools, power supply, the ML series fans which I have to recycle until I can get matching fans all over the case. Now this rad is only 37mm thick. I'd love to have gone thicker, but one of the biggest build limitations of this case is the fact that you only have 450mm of working space in width inside. That's a 12V RGB splitter which I'm going to be plugging into the motherboard, and this is some RGB RAM heat sinks to give the case some bling factor. Now here we are in the build. As you can see, I've pre-mounted the motherboard and I'm just fitting the RGB RAM heat sinks because genuinely I can't afford to get new fancy RAM. That's 32 gigs of DDR4, which has been overclocked to 3000 MHz at 1.35 volts. Now the case is advertised as 520 by 520, basically a square, but in length you practically have 450 and in height you have about 470. This means if you wanted to use thicker rads with multiple ports, you won't be able to utilize them effectively because you are limited in the effective thickness of the radiator, because the case itself isn't that long if you have massive components like me with a 30cm GPU and you want to include a large reservoir. The included anti-sag bracket of the case does work really well. What you got to do is install the bracket, don't tighten it, lift your card up to the straight length and then tighten the bracket. That is the correct way, and as you can see my card has no sag. Now this is with most of the components in. I have my secondary power supply ready to go here, as it's the safest way to power your pump, which in my case is a EK DDC Elite PWM. I used the T connector from the pump to the case's integrated drain port with a ball valve, and I was able to have the desired effect. As you can see here, I was able to use my old reservoir as a funnel essentially, just mounting some tubes and G14 threaded fittings to either end. Now for the fluid, I've gone with a EK cryo fuel acid green, and basically I'm just going to be mixing the concentrate with distilled water until I have the desired color effect, which for me was the sleeve cables. Now this is my setup. I was inspired by random Frank P and other YouTubers to go with a IKEA kitchen worktop, matching drawer units and inverted furniture feet. My cable management can be improved, something I'll be working on, but overall I'm quite happy with the build and the setup. Unfortunately I have no space left on the desk to place the computer, as my 8-inch speakers and my 34-inch monitor have taken over my desk wholly. Now there is the completed build. I did manage to get everything in, however the integrated cable covers, the sliding little plastic bits, are completely useless. 3 of them have ended up being scrapped just because there was no space for it. I'm quite happy with the build. I'll say the case met about 90% of my expectations. Ultimately I'll be changing all the fans to matching black ML series fans and going hard tubes all the way when I can afford it. I don't think overall it looks bad with this soft tube setup, but hard tubes would definitely give it the edge. That's it for this build and this video. I hope somebody finds it useful or informative in some way. I wish you guys all the best in your PC building experiences. Like, comment and share if you can. Thanks guys.